The Law of One, Book 1, Part 27, Session 14, January 29, 1981. I am Ra. I greet you in the love and the light of the infinite Creator. We communicate now. Questioner. After going over this morning's work, I thought it might be helpful to fill in a few things. You said that the second density strives towards the third density, which is the density of self-consciousness or self-awareness. The striving takes place through higher second density forms being invested by third density beings. Could you explain what you mean by this? I am Ra. Much as you would put on a vestment, so do your third density beings invest or clothe some second density beings with self-awareness. This is often done through the opportunity of what you call pets. It has also been done by various other means of investiture. These include many so-called religious practice complexes, which personify and send love to various natural second density beings in their group form. Questioner. When the earth was second density, how did the second density beings on it become so invested? I am Ra. There was not this type of investment as spoken, but the simple third density investment, which is the line of spiraling light calling distortion upward from density to density. The process takes longer when there is no investment made by incarnate third density beings. Questioner. Then what was the second density form? What did it look like that became Earthman in the third density? What did he look like in second density? I am Ra. The difference between second and third density bodily forms would in many cases have been more like one to the other. In the case of your planetary sphere, the process was interrupted by those who incarnated here from the planetary sphere you called Mars. They were adjusted by genetic changing and, therefore, there was some difference which was of a very noticeable variety rather than the gradual raising of the bipedal forms upon your second density level to third density level. This has nothing to do with the so-called placement of the soul. This has only to do with the circumstances of the influx of those from that culture. Questioner. I understand from previous material that this occurred 75,000 years ago. It was then that our third density process of evolution began. Can you tell me the history, hitting only the points of development, shall I say, that occurred within this 75,000 years, any point when contact was made to aid this development? I am Ra. The first attempt to aid your peoples was at the time 75,000. This attempt, 75,000 of your years ago, has been previously described by us. The next attempt was approximately 58,000 of your years ago, continuing for a long period in your measurement with those of Mu, as you call this race or mind-body-spirit social complex. The next attempt was long in coming and occurred approximately 13,000 of your years ago, when some intelligent information was offered to those of Atlantis, this being of the same type of healing and crystal working of which we have spoken previously. The next attempt was 11,000 of your years ago. There are approximations, as we were not totally able to process your space-time continuum measurement system. This was in what you call Egypt, and of this we have also spoken. The same beings who came with us returned approximately 3,500 years later in order to attempt to aid the South American mind-body-spirit social complex once again. However, the pyramids of those so-called cities were not to be used in the appropriate fashion. Therefore, this was not pursued further. There was a landing approximately 3,000 of your years ago, also in your South America, as you call it. There were a few attempts to aid your peoples approximately 2,300 years ago, this in the area of Egypt. The remaining part of the cycle, we have never been gone from your fifth dimension and have been working in this last minor cycle to prepare for harvest. Questioner. Was the Egyptian visit of 11,000 years ago the only one where you actually walked the earth? I am Ra. I understand your question distorted in the direction of selves rather than other selves. We of the vibratory sound complex Ra have walked among you only at that time. Questioner, I understood you to say in an earlier session that pyramids were built to ring the earth. How many pyramids were built? I am Ra. There are 6 balancing pyramids and 52 others built for additional healing and initiatory work among your mind, body, spirit, social complexes. Questioner, what is a balancing pyramid? I am Ra. Imagine, if you will, the many force fields of the earth in their geometrically precise web. Energies stream into the earth planes, as you would call them, from magnetically determined points. Due to growing thought-form distortions in understanding of the law of one, the planet itself was seen to have the potential for imbalance. The balancing pyramidal structures were charged with crystals which drew the appropriate balance from the energy forces streaming into the various geometrical centers of electromagnetic energy which surrounds and shape the planetary sphere. Questioner, let me make a synopsis, and you tell me if I'm correct. All of these visits for the last 75,000 years were for the purpose of giving to the people of Earth an understanding of the law of one, and in this way allowing them to progress upward through the 4th, 5th, and 6th densities. This was to be a service to Earth. The pyramids were used also in giving the law of one in their own way. The balancing pyramids, I'm not quite sure of. Am I right so far? I am Ra. You are correct to the limits of the precision allowed by language. Questioner, did the balancing pyramid prevent the Earth from changing its axis? I am Ra. This query is not clear. Please restate. Questioner, does the balancing refer to the individual who is initiated in the pyramid, or does it refer to the physical balancing of the Earth on its axis in space? I am Ra. The balancing pyramidal structures could be and were used for individual initiation. However, the use of these pyramids was also designed for the balancing of the planetary energy web. The other pyramids are not placed correctly for earth healing, but for healing of mind, body, spirit complexes. It came to our attention that your density was distorted towards what is called by our distortion understanding of third density on your planetary sphere, more of a time-space continuum in one incarnation pattern, in order to have a fuller opportunity to learn, teach the laws or ways of the primal distortion of the law of one, which is love.